Welcome back to the English virtual class, children. Today, I'm going to take up the third unit modals from your practice book. So, in detail, we are going to look into the definition, structure, and how to use them. Coming to the definition, a modal verb is a type of auxiliary verb that is used to indicate modality, that is, likelihood, ability, permission, possibility, etc. What do you mean by an auxiliary verb? Auxiliary verbs are also called as helping verbs. So the main auxiliary verbs are is, was, are, and were. And you have has, have, and had. Okay. Then do, does, and did. Okay. These are the main auxiliary verbs. Now the verbs, we also have the modal verbs which mainly express the ability, permission, and possibility, right? So these modal verbs are also a kind of auxiliary verbs, right? Now let us see the list of modal verbs. Can, could, may, might, will, would, shall, should, ought to, and must. So these modal verbs you have been studying in your lower classes, right from your lower classes, isn't it? So you should know the usage of these modal verbs. Let us just have a quick recap of the use of these modal verbs, right? Now, where do we use the modal verb can? Can is used for ability and possibility. Okay, so ability is I can swim. Possibility, my friend can visit me next week. That is a possibility, right? It is also used for permission. Can I bring here? It is also used for request. Can you help me? Now coming to could. Okay, could is also used for permission. That is, could I borrow your dictionary? Then it is used for request. Could you say it again more slowly? It is also used for possibility. I think we could have another tea. It is also used for ability. He gave up his old job so he could work for us. Coming to may, as we all know, it is used for permission. May I come in, sir? Or may I have another cup of coffee? And possibility also. I may finish my homework by evening. Okay. Then coming to might. Might is just used for possibility. Okay. We would better phone tomorrow. They might be eating their dinner now. So it is a possibility, right? Now coming to will and would. Will is used for taking decisions like I can't see any cabs, so I will walk. So decision taken. Offer. I will do that for you if you like. Okay, that is an offer. Then promise. I will come back on Monday. So will is used for decisions, offer, and promise. Coming to would. Would is used for permission. Would you mind if I brought a friend with me? Request. Would you mind waiting a moment? Invitation. Would you like to play basketball this Friday? Okay, so these are the different uses of can, could, may, might, will, and would. Coming to shall. Shall is used for an offer. Shall I help you with your luggage? Suggestion. Shall we say 2:30 then? Okay, suggestion. Okay. Then permission. Shall I do that or will you? Then coming to should. It is used for saying what is right or correct. We should solve this problem. Okay. Possibility. Fees should decrease next year. Okay, this is a possibility. It may or it may not, right? So all these modal verbs you might have already studied in your lower classes. Today we will go in detail some other modal verbs, okay, like must, okay, had to, should, should not, etc. Right? Before we go in detail about them, first let us look at the structure. So what is a sentence structure? How do we use the modal verbs? First you have the subject, then comes the modal verb. After that you have main verb, then the complement, right? So I must go to sleep. I can drink some water. Okay, so all these verbs, must, can, should, may, and will, they come before the main verb. Okay, so after the main verb, you have the complement. Complement is something added more to the verb there, right? So this is the main structure, right? Then modal verbs do not add s or es to the third personal singular. Third personal singular is he or she. Okay, so if we write the verb he, we generally use the verb v1 plus s. He swims, we say, isn't it? Yes or no? She swims or he swims. But the modal verbs will remain the same. Like he can swim. You cannot write he can swim. That is wrong. Okay. So modal verbs remain the same when we use in third person singular. That is he can swim. Right. Now coming to our practice book. What are the modal verbs we have in our practice book and what are the rules that we have to follow? Here comes our first one. Has to or have to. Okay. These modal verbs are used to tell that there is no option but to do something. The candidate has to clear the interview for getting the job. There is no other option, right? Must or have to are used to express necessity or compulsion. That means there is no other go. You must or you have to do it. In most of the cases, these two can be used interchangeably. There is a slight difference between must and have to. Both of them, though they express necessity and compulsion, there is a slight difference between the usage of must and have to. Let us look into what is the difference. In must, the authority comes from the speaker. In have to, the authority comes from the outside the speaker, such as law or rules. When you look at the examples, you will understand better. You must reach the airport at 8 p.m. I insist. I insist means you should do it. You have to do it, right? You have to reach the airport 3 hours before your flight time. That is a rule. So must is used, which comes from the speaker, and have to is used, that is generally a law or a rule, but both are used as a necessity or a compulsion. Is that clear? So that is the usage of must and have to, right? Then coming to the next one, the use of should and ought to. Should and ought to are used to ask for, give suggestions, advice, and to talk about duty or obligation. Okay. You should go for a walk daily. You ought to be honest while taking an exam. Okay. So should is used for giving suggestions. Now, what is the difference between should and ought to then? See, I'll just read out some examples. You should go for a walk daily. Okay. And you ought to be honest while taking an exam. So, what is the difference here? Both are used to give advice or suggestion. However, when there is a sense of moral duty or a moral obligation, we use ought to. So something to do with moral obligation or moral duty, we use ought to. So both are used for suggestions or advice, but something to deal with moral duty, then we use the modal verb ought. Okay. Now coming to the next modal verb, should not. Should not is used to suggest that it is not correct to do something. Must not suggest a compulsion, obligation not to do something. It is simply a prohibition to do something. So how should not and must not differ from each other? So if you look at the examples, you will understand better. You should not tease animals. It is not correct to tease animals. You must not tease that snake. It is poisonous. So it is, I prohibit it. Okay, so should not is just a mild suggestion it is. If it is must not, that means you must not do it because there is no other go, there might be some danger. So when you look at the sentence, you must not tease that snake, it is you mustn't do it. If you do it, then it is going to be dangerous, right? Then one more example I will read out for you. You should not drink water from hand pumps. It is not hygienic. Okay, that is just a suggestion. You must not drink this water. It's contaminated. So there's no other go. If you drink it, you are going to fall ill because it is polluted or contaminated, right? So that is difference between should not and must not, right? Then coming to the usage of should, ought to, must and have to, how all these modal verbs are used, okay, with the same sentence, but how they differ in the meaning. Okay, when you look at the modal verb should, to talk about offer, ask for suggestion, duty or obligation. You should apologize to her. It is my suggestion. I think it is right. So when should is used, it is just a plain suggestion. Okay. Then the same sentence, if we use with the modal verb ought to talk about moral duty or moral obligation. You ought to apologize to her. That means it conveys the meaning. It is morally correct for you to apologize. Okay, right? Apologize is to accept your mistake. Then coming to must, we know that must and have to are used to express necessity and compulsion. There is no other go, right? You must or have to do it. So must, we have already discussed, to express necessity that comes from the speaker, whereas have to comes from the outside the speaker, that is generally it is a law or a rule, right? See, now when it is just from the speaker, you must apologize to her. I insist that you apologize to her. Then if it is coming from the outside the speaker, okay, there is no other option, right? You have to apologize to her. That means you are insisting that it has to happen. That's it, right? So there is no other go. Fine. So today I have discussed with the modal verbs that you have in your unit 3 in your practice book, right? So now what should you do is, since I have already dealt with the rules of this modal verbs, you need to complete or work out the exercises in your practice book of the unit 3 modal verbs. Is that right, children? So your homework is complete the exercises, okay, that are there in your practice book, and I'll be meeting you in my next virtual class. Till then, goodbye, children.